You know, sometimes it doesn't really matter if you open the lock or not. It's all about style. So this module, or this segment's about making your own picks, and I call these quick picks because, as you see, you can put picks in both ends, and these are easily replaced. If I bend a tip or if I break a tip, I simply remove these Allen screws and I can take the tip out and replace it very easily. Right now I've got it set up for dimple picks. You don't have to use dimple picks, you can use any kind of pick you want. In fact, I carry a small bag with me, and it's got all kinds of tips. I got rates in there, I've got probes in there, I've got a Bogota in there, and they can all simply fit into these because these quick picks allow quick replacement. We see I got a couple of styles here, so let's talk about making your own. You can do this very easily in about an hour and a half, and I'm going to spend about the next, 10 minutes describing how you go about doing that. Okay, we got to start somewhere, so we might as well start with the handles themselves. The first thing we need to do is figure out what's a good length. And so I've taken a bunch of different handles here and just kind of measured them, and they all seem to measure about between 3 and 3¼ of an inch. So just to stay on the safe side, let's stay with 3¼ We can always make it shorter, but it's hard to make them longer. Our next choice is deciding what it is we want to make our handles out of, what material. So you can buy this in any hobby store, any hardware store. We can use aluminum, and this is 1/2 inch. I don't happen to have any of the smaller diameter handy, but you can make it out of 1/2 inch. But I'm assuming that nobody here has a lathe or anything like that. I want to keep it as simple as I can. So these are quite a bit smaller. Even the largest one I think is smaller than the 1/2 inch. So I think 1/2 inch is a little bit large. The next size down would be 5/16 of an inch. And I think that's just about optimal. That's a little bit larger than this one. This is the Sauber tool, and I find this very, very comfortable when I handle, particularly on dimple picks. So this would be way too large. So if you can get a 5/16 aluminum, we have 5/16 steel, and then we have 5/16 brass. I don't have any aluminum, so we're not going to be doing that. I don't want to have to turn it down on the lathe. In order to make things go faster, I'm not going to use the steel. I do like the brass. It's soft, easy to work with. It has a nice color, and it looks nice. So let's make some about 3¼ inch handles. Let's make 3 of them out of this material right here. So how do we go about doing that? Well, let's set it up in the vise and figure it out. Alright, we've got it set up in the vise. We've marked our 3¼ inch mark, so I'm just going to use a standard hacksaw. Let's just cut them off at 3¼ Nothing to it. Okay, after we cut it, these edges are quite jagged. We want a nice rounded edge so it doesn't cut into the palm of our hand. And since we're doing this with tools that everybody has, we're just going to put our electric drill inside of the vise, and we're going to get a flat file. And all we're going to do, we're going to basically an improvised lathe. We're going to pull the trigger, and we're going to use our file to round off the edge. Okay, I think you can see it. It's not perfect, but we are definitely getting there. It's rounding off, looks good. Keep doing that until you got a nice rounded edge, and then I'll show you how to finish it. Okay, once you got it rounded off, it's still going to look a little rough because of the marks, the file marks, but that's okay. Now get yourself some sandpaper and just start with, I'm going to start with, I think it's 320. And sand it, and then move down till you get to about 400, and it should be looking pretty good. And just give you a close-up. If we can get it to focus. There's what we're looking for. And you just keep moving to finer and finer sandpaper until it's a really nice finish. So do that for all 3 of them on both ends. Okay, these all came out pretty nice, just using the hand file, some sandpaper, and some emery cloth, so it looks pretty good. Not perfect, but close enough for government work, eh? Alright, round handles sometimes make it difficult when you're picking. When you rotate it, you can't tell how far you've rotated inside of a keyway, particularly when you're working with dimple locks. It would be nice to have some way to index how much you've rotated. And a good way to do that is to have a flat side or both two flat sides so you can feel it. Well, this is optional, of course, but if you choose to do that, simply chuck up your handle inside of a vise, just leave a little bit exposed, use your flat file and cut a flat side. And by using a fine file, you can get a really close cut. Looks pretty good. So try that, and we'll get on to the next step. Okay, hopefully by now you've got something that looks like this. It's got a couple of flat sides, so it makes it easier so we can feel without watching exactly how much we're turning inside of the keyway, maybe if we're working with a dimple. So what I've done, now we need a place to put the pick in. So I've taken one and clamped it inside of the vise, and what we want to do is just take a punch, a center punch, and we're going to have to drill a hole. So we want to get this just as close to the center as we can, and just leave a little punch so our drill will have a place to get a bite. And it should look just about like that. I hope you can see that in the camera. Alright, hold on, we'll be drilling in just a second. Now we want to drill a 1/8 inch hole, so we have a 1/8 inch drill bit, exactly, or as close to 1/2 inch as you can, inside of the shaft. And that's so when we cut our tips, we can stick them inside of there. You'll notice I do have German watchers, and so they'll appreciate the precision of putting the drill stop, but to be honest, the depth is really not that critical. We're going to adjust that with the length of our tips. What is critical is that you stay as close to parallel. You want to stay down the center of the shaft, obviously as close as you can. Otherwise, if you get it at an angle, your pick's going to be sticking out at an angle. So the closer to the center line you can stay, the better off it will be. So here we go. Take your time, there's no hurry on this. Okay, we got our hole drilled right down the center. It goes a 1/2 inch deep. Now what we need is somehow to hold the windshield wiper insert, which eventually we're going to turn into a pick of some kind. But it can't be flopping around, so we need some positive way to lock it in place. And that's what we're going to do next. So again, take your punch, put it about 1/4 of an inch back. The distance is really not critical. Try to get it as centered on the flat as you can, and then just give it just a little tap. And now we're going to be drilling another hole. Okay, I got it clamped up again, same piece, and what we want to do, again with the drill, now this part is critical. You need a 7/64. It has to be a 7/64 drill bit. It's a common dimension, but you can't use any smaller or any larger. This just won't work for this when we need to thread the hole. So 7/64, and we're just going to drill in again with the depth stop because we don't want to drill all the way through. So I've set the depth so it won't quite go all the way through. You don't need this, you can easily feel it, but just for me, I make a lot of mistakes. So here we go, we're just going to drill 7/64. I need to back the camera up just a hair so I can get at it. There we go. Piece of cake. Okay, this next step, we're going to need a tap, and the tap, they usually come like this. This is Home Depot, and you want it to measure 6/32 because that's the type of screw that we're going to be using. So the thread is 6-32, or the metric equivalent. And all we need to do at this point, again I have to back this up, I apologize for the jiggling. We're just going to put it into the hole, and you'll notice it fits kind of snugly, and then we're just going to give it a few turns. Try to keep it as straight as you can, because what we're doing, we're cutting the threads. And once it gets started, it's easy. But until it gets started, try to keep it as straight as you can. And just screw it in, and don't over torque it. Once you feel it bottom out in the hole, that's as far as it's going to go, then back it out. Again, try to keep it straight as you pull it out, and you'll see now the threads are cut in there perfectly. Okay, holes drilled. and it's already threaded. Now they're going to have some rough edges on the outside of that, just to make this look a little bit more professional, just to make it look neater. If you have one of these, which is a chamfer, you're just going to put it in there and give it a couple of turns with your fingers. Now, if you don't have one of these, it's no big deal. I got to justify my tool somehow, and so I got to show them off. Instead, to be honest, you can use any drill bit, just larger than the hole. Just put it in there and just give it a couple of light turns, and that will chamfer your hole and take all those burrs off, so you won't feel it on your finger. It's going to be nice and smooth at that point. Okay, we are ready. It's threaded. So let's just double check it. And the way we're going to double check it, we're going to take an Allen screw. And now the Allen packages, again, Home Depot, this is what the package looks like. It's called a set screw or a socket screw. And these cost 30 cents for, I think it's 4 of them. And what you're looking for, 6-32 by 3/16 long. These are the most common Allen screws in the packages. Okay, so there's what one looks like. So we're going to take an Allen wrench, and I'm just going to put it in the back of there, and then we're just going to thread that dude right into the hole. And now I think you see we're going to be able to hold our piece in there when we slide him in into the top. And then we screw the Allen screw in. Now it's going to lock him down, and he's not going to be moving. Now we got a beautiful quick pick. Now we just need to worry about a little bit of finishing, and we're done. Okay, not all of us can be super pickers like Kokomo Lock, so instead of being good, we have to appear good. So we're going to take the almost finished, and we're going to put a really nice shine on it. Again, we've chucked up our drill, or actually our homemade lathe, and now all we need to do is get some steel wool, and I use 3/0 steel wool, and fire it up and polish this thing up. And it really doesn't take very much at all to get a super nice shine on this thing. And there we go, beautiful. We may not be able to pick a lock, but we're going to look good not doing it. Okay, once you get it all cleaned up, take it out of the drill bit and put your Allen screws into your pre-threaded hole. And then what we're going to do is find a bit, any kind of bit or tip that you want. This one happens to be a South Ord, and all I had to do was file this down just a little bit so that it fits perfectly into the hole. Give it about a 1/4 of a turn, snug it up, and that way nice and solid, and you're going to get some good feedback throughout this entire shaft. I made them double-ended, as you see, and you don't have to do that. You can simply make single-ended ones. The other difference between this and what you saw earlier is I took my file while it was in the groove and I was polishing it, and I made a small groove here. And that's because, as you see, I have dimple picks in here. You can use any kind of picks, but I put the groove because dimple picks have lefts and rights, and so I put the line on the one in which I keep the left-sided dimple pick on. So anyway, there you go. This is where we started this whole project. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're going to make yourself some of these. They're really easy, very inexpensive, and very durable. Anyway, thanks for your time. Everybody stay safe and stay legal.